Well, good afternoon, everybody. JT here in the Studio 10-4 live, coming to you again this week here in in August 17th, 2022. Hope you guys are all doing well. We got Pete Henderson into the studio first. A guy that traveled the furthest gets in first. That's awesome. Dave Cooper, how are you? I'm good. I'm doing good here, man. Kyle Nelson, good to have you there. Nice to have you on the show, and everybody else that's going to be coming in here shortly, I'm sure, is we're going to have many on today's show. Got a great show. I'm excited about today's show because we've got some great information about what is going on with some things in our world, in the industry. More specifically, to the point with the AB5 ruling that's happening in California, and the fact is, it's not just going to affect Californians; it's going to affect people out of state that come in and then try to leave again. And we'll get to all that stuff. But our expert on this matter today is Wayne Schooling, who's going to be in the studio here shortly, and I'll get to Wayne here in a minute. But if you guys haven't ever read it, Wayne's World in the magazine, great thing to be reading about. In fact, I'll take you over. You know how I always tell you guys you can actually watch or read a virtual copy of the magazine. There it is right there. Click here to the digital edition, and I actually kind of sped it up a little bit, but there it is. There's his column in the magazine right there, and you can read it digitally, or if you have the printed copy and you subscribe, which is the best way to go, you can read it at home or wherever on the road, whatever you want to do. Subscriptions are easy. Just hit the subscribe button and bang, there you go. You can subscribe to the magazine. And honestly, I think, guys, at this point, it's probably the best way to do it. It's just too easy not to subscribe and be a subscriber. Caleb Hammock, hey, man, I was just good afternoon to you, first of all. But yeah, I was just reading and seeing a picture of you with a nice big trophy from back in June down in Southern California. So congratulations, my friend. Best of show. Good job as always. Many others joined in, man. That's great to see, guys. Gene, I believe Gene's in there. Hi, Gene. How are you? Big Eric in here. Eric Hill. Good to have you on the show. And here, hey guys, and there's something I need to share with you. And I know that oh God. All right. I'm not going to give this one any attention, but anybody want to talk to Miranda? Hey, Miranda, looking for a husband? I don't know what to tell you, man. This ain't trucker dating, but whatever. Miss Julia in the studio from the casting couch over there, waving, giving us the wave over here. Yeah, good to have you, honey. Yep, yeah, we have these. I don't know, man. I don't know where these gals come from. Miranda, good luck with that. Tim Cody Jr., what is going on? Jason, what's going on in there, buddy? And Casey, man, we got a bunch of you guys in here. Some stuff that I didn't get out last week that I forgot to tell you about, and this is kind of a big deal because I spend a lot of time doing it. If you go over to our Facebook page, it looks a little different on your feed than on mine, but all you have to do, this is all the same. If you click on more right here and events, you will see I have added everything that was possible to get a hold of. There's one more show that somebody just, oh, actually, you know what? I take that back. I added it just the other day. They're all here. And everything on here, the cool thing about it is once it's over here, it's all updated in real time by the creator of the event. So any one of these events that are on here, the creator of it, they're the ones that are responsible for creating and updating the content. If they do it, it'll be updated here. So this should be the latest, greatest on any show that you want to go check out. I always tell people it never hurts to call or email or contact people somehow. If you're going to go to a show and want to go to a show just to get the latest update, just to make sure it's not so much important anymore. That was really during the COVID era when we really had to watch what was going on. But there they all are. And there's other ones out there too. But here's the thing, guys. If you have a show, know somebody that has a show, and they have not created a Facebook event, it's not going to end up here in our list of shows on our calendar on Facebook. And trust me, we got a lot more followers than you do. So if you really want to get it out there, it doesn't cost you anything. I do this for you guys for free. Create the event, let me know, and I will share it over here on the 10-4 page. So Miranda, yeah, back coming to America from Polish, the wheel. I don't know what that means, but again, good luck to you. And yeah, well, she's at least she's willing to travel. Okay. Anyway, hey, let's talk about our guest today. First of all, Wayne's World is the column, as I told you guys already, and his name is Wayne Schooling. Wayne's been a contributor with 10-4 magazine since 1994, guys. So talk about being there as close as you can to the very beginning. Yeah, pretty much. Wayne's been around a while. Wayne owns and operates NTA, that's National Transportation Association. Nod your head if I got that right. National Trucking Association. Okay, I'm gonna let. God, thanks for that. I blew that one. Wayne, what is it?
North American
Oh, North
Transportation.
American Transportation Association.
There you go.
Okay. Well, I got a half right.
Yeah.
I got it half right. Well, now I can just tell you all about how great you are and what a great friend of 10-4 you are. Wayne, by the way, was the first presenting sponsor to endorse the Truckin For Kids era of 10-4 and us running the show and owning it. And we appreciate you for doing that, Wayne. That was an awesome undertaking on your part. So super supporter of Truckin For Kids. um, Donated a 1960s era golf cart to us, who right now, which is at Jeff Patello's at Patello Customs, getting customized for the show. So we're all waiting to see what that ends up looking like, and including you, I'm sure it's not going to be the same golf cart from what I hear. He's really doing a number on it, so I'm pretty excited about what
That
this
was
thing's going to
originally
look like.
that was originally built in 1943.
Night, whoa!
Yes. One of the very first golf carts ever made in the United States.
What brand is it?
The Marketeer. It's called the Marketeer.
Okay,
And the guy that did it for his wife. Because back in 43, there was a gasoline, the war was going on and everything was limited. So that's where that electric vehicle came about.
I think might have a big block in it or something by the time Jeff gets it back to us. I don't know.
Well, eventually he sold the company to General Electric. So
Okay.
I hope he kept the General Electric hubcaps on there. I don't know.
I don't know either. We're all going to find out. Hey guys, moment of silence. We're all going to say goodbye to Miranda at this point because she's just not happening. So bye, Miranda. Been nice. She's been blocked. Sorry about that, Wayne. We've got a lot of people that come into the show, our Facebook, Instagram, Facebook group, and it's an open door. Anybody can walk in. So you just never know who's there. And guys, for your information, I do a ton of policing on the backside of this thing so that you guys aren't getting harassed and hassled by these gals. The group especially, it's just ridiculous. But anyway, social media such as it is. So back to the golf cart. I can't wait to see what Jeff does with it. There's a rumor it might even be blue, which of course is Jeff's color. So we'll see what happens with that. But tell us a little bit about your organization, and then we'll get into the AB5 dialogue. But tell us a little bit about it. NTA. What does NTA do?
Well, originally it was started back in 1989 as the SCOOC, the Southern California Owner Operators Consortium. And that's all it was just a drug consortium. Uh, because I was invited by the Federal Motor Carrier people to myself and a guy from Motion Pictures to take the course when drug testing came about.
Okay.
So that's how that came about. But when I came on board, it started to grow big, and people from Texas started joining, and I kept thinking, why would a company in Texas, want to join something that's named Southern California? And so I got the idea of changing the name. But so we sat and rolled our heads around and came up with I wanted a 3-letter thing, like NBC, CBS, the TV
Sure.
stations. So we decided to put North American as one word, one initial, and that's how the NTA came about.
So NTA, as far as the what it does, tell us what it's doing for the drivers now. I mean, I know. I just want you to tell because you've got much better handle on it than I do. I saw a lot of it, and and some similarities to some other group that might be out there. But let's talk about yours. Tell us what it does.
Well, we're here to help the motor carrier and the owner operator because they need each other. So we went out and got different programs that are basically mandatory: background checks, drug testing, uh, truck insurance. We scouted around to find the best deals that we could. I'm from Missouri. That's the show me state, literally, and I don't want to hear any complaints. From any of our service providers. That's just my old school rule. So you can,
There's a lot of guys. There's a lot of our guys that are from there. That so don't worry.
yeah.
It's all good.
We vet as they call it. We do our own background check on any of our service providers to make sure that they're legitimate and get the best rates that we can negotiate. For them. And just bring a one-stop shopping center so that some people join just for the drug testing, some join just for the insurance, some do the occupational accident, and some do the background checks. The background checks are probably the one of the better deals. You get 5 different checks for less than $20, and generally speaking, they're about $25 a piece if you go out on your own and do it.
So
Go ahead.
go ahead. I was going to say my best advice for everybody in this particular instance is go to the website and take a look around on there and see what piques your interest and what services are going to be there and good for you. There's a
Yeah.
lot going on there. So great website. In fact, our show today is being cast on there as well. Correct?
Yes, it is.
So
And another thing is that when I first started it up, I went to look at all the state associations because every state has a state associations, and either they were charging on how much revenue a trucking company makes or the mileage. Well, I really don't care how much money they make. In fact, the more they make, the merrier I am. Uh, and I don't care about the mileage. To me, it's the driver that's going to make or break a trucking company, whether it's an owner operator or an employee or a 1099. So we've got to treat these guys, bring stuff together so that it's a happy medium between the two.
a lot of responsibility for the guy behind the wheel, and if the guy is a driver, not an owner op, then of course we hope he's driving equipment that's going to take care of him as much as he's going to take care of it. So it's definitely a partnership.
Oh yeah, and trucking has changed so much. I mean, I started back in the early 60 or 61, I believe it was, for Pacific Intermountain Express. I was a
Wow, a pie
bobtail,
driver.
bobtail driver
Yeah.
at first. I uh, just turned 21, and so I got that, but I kept filling up the truck and bringing it back in, and then I had to unload it, and I didn't like that. I like loading it.
You're more of a dropping hooker, huh?
I didn't like unloading it because I would fill it up too quick. So I decided I needed to learn how to drive a bigger truck. So then I got came in on the weekends and learned how to drive a semi. And of course, in those days, these district driver supervisor could sign for your license. You didn't have to take a test.
Right.
In the good old days.
Yeah, there's a lot that's changed. There's definitely a
Yeah.
lot, and for a good reason. And you know what though, honestly, I think we might have done better to keep it that way than the way it is now because some of these guys don't belong out there. Just saying, I'm not saying it's everybody. Believe me, not picking on anything. I'm just saying there's guys that just don't belong out there. But
Yeah.
um,
And in those days, if you saw an owner operator, it was like, oh my God, it's Santa Claus. I mean, they were just far and few between. It was
Yeah.
like BJ and the Bear. It was like, wow, I don't understand that because everybody was either non-union or a union driver back then.
I want to ask our audience too, guys. Get your questions ready about AB5 and AB5. You guys, if you're wondering and you just tuned in because you're regular viewers, that is the independent contractors bill that got passed into law some time ago, and just about a month ago, the stay that was in place to have it not affect trucking was lifted, and the law went to effect. Also, want to know how many of you guys out there know or remember PIE and Pacific Intermountain Express that Wayne drove for. Before we get into AB5, I wanted to take a minute and talk about our sponsor today, and that is Minimizer. Minimizer, a great sponsor and partner of 10-4 Magazine and the Studio 10-4 Weekly Update. These guys make a slew of products. In fact, I'm going to post up what they sent me for links later. I'll get that stuff to you guys, but you know them for mattresses, fenders, seats, toolboxes, on and on and on. The list is huge. And they pretty much invented the poly fender about 40 years ago. And they have quite a product there. It's a great product for a lot of specific uses. You custom guys out there, guess what? They make a chrome plastic fender. Not for everybody, but definitely if you need something that's going to bounce back after he gets abused by somebody, then you might want to get one. Lifetime warranty. I mean, nearly indestructible. And if you end up destructing it, destroying it, it's a lifetime warranty on it. So plenty more to talk about here, and we'll get into more of that. Also, one more thing I want to share with you: we're going to premiere the first Studio 10-4 production that we've put together of some material that Eric Hill shot over the weekend. And I think you guys will enjoy that. So stick around after Wayne and I are done, and we'll get that video in there and let you guys have a look at it. So, Wayne, tell us from where you're at with things right now with AB5. I know there's a lot. Let's try to kind of give it some sort of a, oh, I don't know, just a broad but a rounded view of it, so that we don't get too far off to the left or the right of it. Let's try to stay somewhere in the middle. What do you think?
Well, I guess we should really make clear what AB5 is, all about. That
Good
AB
point.
rule,
Yep.
and that's the A portion is not usually a big problem. That's where the driver is, free of control and direction, and that's usually not a big problem. The big problem is the B portion as well as the C. B means that the work performed is outside the usual course of the hiring entity's business. So if you're in the trucking business, you can't hire someone else in the trucking business. Um, how,
Subhaulers. Yeah,
how,
that pretty much eliminates subhaulers.
yeah, that's pretty much it. How they explain that is, let's say you go to a barber shop, and barber's got in the shop usually 4 or 5 chairs, and these guys are quote unquote independents. Okay, they rent a chair. If there's a leak on chair 6 and the sink is leaking, and the guy says, hey boss, you want me to fix it? The boss has to say no, because he's got to call a plumber, because the plumber is not in the same business as the barber. You see how that
Yeah.
it doesn't make much sense to me, but that's the way they like to explain it.
Well, that I mean, it's gotten to the point where, let me back up for a second too. I said subhaulers, and I use that term because not everybody's an owner operator. There's plenty of subhaulers out there that are owner operators, but then there's subhaulers that own multiple units, and they might be working for a company, and they might provide 5, 10, whatever units a day for a
Oh yeah,
company out there. So subhaul period, you're
it's a
out.
yeah, it's a general subject. I mean, it's like calling if you go get a Coke, you might want to order a Pepsi, but you still go say,
Yeah.
let's go get a Coke.
Right. Right.
Now the C portion is where the worker, the subhauler, has to be engaged in an independently established uh, business or occupation. Independent, and by that they're talking about advertising, uh, having business cards, and stuff like that. And so that's how that.
Promoting themselves. It
Yeah,
seems to me what they need to figure out here on this thing, and I believe me, I'm not going to be the guy that's going to get it done, but I think enough of us at some point try to get this thing worked out. They're going to have to break it down. They've even broken it down for the Uber and the Lyft guys. I mean, you get a Uber or a Lyft ride now, and there's a fee on there now just for the California drivers. You have to pay, and I guess that's going into a pool, and that's where the benefits or whatever they're getting from us to pay for these guys comes from, right?
yeah.
So Are they going to do that for owner operators in the trucking industry or sub haulers in the trucking industry? No, I think the truckers need to be excluded. Period.
Yeah, because Lyft and Uber, they put in like a couple of $1 million to fight this, so that's how they got their exemption.
Right.
Yeah, and the problem is every owner operator is his own worst enemy because he's in competition with himself. To tell you the truth,
And each other. Yeah.
and you can't gang together, as because now you're getting a antitrust territory on that, but it's going to affect the port drivers like quite a bit because they are ex- exclusively to that one trucking company. There's a ton of those down there, and
Well,
then you
there's a ton of stuff that those guys are already having to battle just to get in the gates of the port.
yeah, and then you've got the non-exclusive leased owner operator, and that's a guy who's got his own authority, but he's still leased to a company, and he's got his own, but his own authority and whatnot, but he's still working primarily for that one outfit. And then you have the true uh, for hire owner operator, the one that works. He doesn't work for any trucking company at all. He just works strictly for brokers, where he develops his own clientele and stuff like that.
Let's talk about that for a second. Brokers, because that was just running through my head here, and it's not one of the things we've talked about so far. So here's all these companies that they're pulling 25 guys a day from all over to go run loads of gravel, and that's what they're doing every day, right? Now,
That's a
what
different. When
I,
you, when you mentioned gravel and construction, that's a different animal.
how's that different?
Okay, because the Western States Association is mainly made of those kind of brokers.
Yeah,
That
okay,
okay,
okay.
and right now there is a case uh, that they're faced with, and we're not sure, how that's going to come about. But these are guys that have their own authority and whatnot. But the state of California, they're just yeah, they're just greedy little SOBs. I mean, I don't know how else to tell it.
Well, but tell us how is there something right now going on that the gravel truck guys, the asphalt rock stand and gravel guys have something to look forward to, maybe?
No, that's the
Oh,
problem. There's a case before that they want to make these guys employees just as well.
that's what I thought. So they fell under the same inclusion as everybody else when the state Supreme Court
Right.
denied hearing California Trucking Association's implementation of the stay that was enforced before, right? So we're all out. We're all screwed at this point, right?
However, the there's one attorney firm that's back in Washington D.C. I can't remember their whole name. I just call them the Scopelitis Group. They're what I consider the SEAL team of transportation attorneys. This is who the American Trucking Association uses to represent whatever cases that they have. They have when it first started back around 2018, uh, middle or later in 2019, they started warning trucking companies that they should start thinking about starting their own freight brokerage company because freight brokers can't own trucks. And so freight broker is not in the same business as a trucker. And so there's where you get around that B portion.
Okay, so that's where my question came from is when we started saying brokers and I'm thinking to myself brokers and help me out here. What's the other thing I'm trying to think of here?
Freight forwarder.
So bottom line, let's back up again for a second. So the gravel guys, there's a guy that owns 25 trucks. He's got 25 employees, but he also hires 25 other guys every day to help cover the rest of the loads he can't cover. So he's got his 25 employees. Those guys are fine. They're not affected by this. These other owner operator independent guys, what if that guy was to call a dispatcher or a broker for that's a separate company and say, "Hey, I need 25 more guys at my deal today. Can you get me that?" Can the state Is that a workaround? Do you get what I'm saying here?
Well, that's the problem. What they're facing is something similar to that. That the state is just trying to give them a bunch of guff over that. So I'm not really sure how that's going to work out over there.
But right now, I mean, it's a gray area then. So right now, technically, if somebody was smart enough to do that and create a separate entity unto itself, call it, AB Gravel Broker, and that guy, is who everybody calls. He's just telling people where to go. They're not employees, they're independent contractors. This guy's service is providing a load connection from point A to point B. I think haven't we worked around that a little? I mean, I'm just asking for your opinion.
It makes sense, but I haven't seen the actual lawsuit on that yet, so I don't know what strategy or that the state of California is using to try and pull this off to make them in a way why they're denying this. So it's going to
Well,
wind up in court, that's for sure.
so I mean, the bottom line on this, and I've worked for out of state companies, so I've had the state of California come after companies that I've worked with because the state of California figured that they were owed money because these companies did commerce in California. Some of them were able to get parts of what the state thought they owed waived, let's call it, and other parts of it no, where they had to pay. But it's a fundraiser. I mean, this AB5 it's a fundraiser for the state. They're thinking that they're going to make more money by making everybody become employees and working under the guise of employee rules of the state of California, right?
Yeah, that's what they thought. They just thought that everybody would capitulate and just become employees. So this is going to affect approximately what they say. I don't know for sure, about 70,000, owner operators in California.
And
Uh,
that's a number that is what we have to kind of think about right now. But the conversation you and I had, so it's not just going to affect those 70,000 in California. Let's talk about the guys that are coming into California and they drop a load, but if they pick a load up, now remember that conversation?
that's exactly right. If it's okay for, let's say, a company out of the Midwest to come into California and drop a load, okay, but there's the question has been raised about picking up out of California and out. If they're beginning, if this is, probably a once in a blue moon type of thing, wouldn't matter, I don't think. But if they start making a big habit of this, on the return loads, that's where the state is looking at this very closely. So these guys, even though they're, an owner operator out of Missouri or Kansas or Illinois or wherever, could turn out to fall under the AB5 situation by if they're continually picking up loads, and that was the wording they were using, continually picking up loads.
Hmm.
So
Well, again, I have to say, guys, just in my mind and my short sightedness of this right now, and it's not that short, but it is the short view of it. I think somebody honestly, and this just goes against everything I've always thought of too. Listen, you got to be careful with brokers. You got to be careful with dispatchers. You got to be careful with those guys and make sure you know what you're getting into. But um, I think this might be like a feeding ground for these guys to come in here and say, hey, don't worry about AB5. Come over here and work for us. We got all the loads, and you can work around this and still work until somebody says we can't. You know what I mean?
but it's going to be the motor carrier is going to be the employer. He's the one that's going to get nailed because
Still,
under the well, let me go back to California here.
okay.
There was such a commotion over this original AB5 that there was all kinds of exemptions here and there, and for court clerks and various other positions. So they did. The governor did do this, what's called a business to business exemption, and if the motor carrier can attest that the owner operator fills all 12 items, then he can work. But if he can't, then it falls back on the ABC model. So it's the motor carrier who's going to get punished here, and he's the one that's got to be careful. So, motor carriers have got to just change the way they're doing things.
Well,
Uh,
so
is
who's out there? Who's out there to try to help? I mean, is NTA out there to try to help with any of this, or
well,
um,
we we have a what we call a AB5 compliance solutions as much as we can. I mean, we've got a really a fluent transportation attorney that work is going to work with our members in case agreements have to be changed and rewritten. We've got a CPA that has got a flat flat price for everything to get them, as a company. NTA, for instance, for the advertising part, which is item 8 of the 12 items on the business to business, is offering to our members a advertising special. It's $60 a year, and we'll put them on our directory. It's a searchable directory. So if a shipper or a receiver or a broker needs, say a flatbed in Long Beach, all he can do is, go to the website, put the info in, and
yep,
up comes everybody who falls into that category.
yep.
Because we're using the information off their MCS 150 to, to put it in there.
Well,
So
it sounds like there's a lot of so those basically those 12 factors. You have to be able to check each one of those. If there's a box there to check, you have to check each.
100%, got to meet all 12, and that's the problem. All 12, and
Ron Hokinson's chiming in. This is the guy I'm leased to is just going to file me as a W-2, and then he'll pay the taxes on each settlement just like a regular employee. Well, that's what he's yeah. That's what you've been kind of you know yeah. That's what you've been forced to do exactly.
yeah.
So yeah. And who's doing? Yeah. Well, Tim, that's a great question. By the way, I want to say hi to Timothy Sieben and April Sieben, both on the show, and Miss Shannon Lenz is on the show. So glad to see Shannon there.
Now there's been,
Um,
excuse me,
who's doing the enforcing? That's the question by Tim.
oh, who's going to do what?
Who's going to enforce AB5?
Uh, I'm not really sure yet.
I don't
Far as
think anybody is, right?
as far as I know, the TRO, the temporary restraining order, is still in effect. So there's no enforcement per se right now. But today is what, the 17th. I expect the state of California to lift it in any day because you know I, I just get so frustrated with the state. I mean, here's a state that's got $97 billion surplus, and on July 1 they raised the gasoline tax.
You're right.
You know, they're just so greedy. So I'm sure they're going to, end this temporary restraining order and start wanting to go after. And the sad thing about it is that the law is retroactive back to January 1 of 2020 when it was originally went into effect. So, for trucking companies, they're either going to have to cease doing business in California, shift to the employer employee model, which means that workers' comp is really going to put a number on them, separate their business, from start a brokerage or pursue the business to business exemption. Uh, as far as truck drivers, you got either move out of California, get your own authority and change your status, uh, and watch if you are coming into California, watch out about picking up outbound loads.
Well, there's the whole there. So there's so many guys. I mean, we're talking right now about guys that are possibly long haulers. Where my vision and interest, because it's where I came from, comes to the short haul guys. Whether it's rock, sand, and gravel or just regular town freight. The surface street local freight that's being hauled out there, and I mean those guys are out of business. I can't see a guy that's running again. I'll just say 25 trucks take on this guy 25 here, 25 there, and all these employees. I mean, who's ready to do that? I mean, all of a sudden you just took steroids and you got muscles and you can have a big company. I just don't see it happening. I mean, listen, I bet there's a lot of guys that are going, well, maybe that's not such a bad deal. But listen, if it was that easy, everybody would do it, and it's not.
That's true. I mean, I had a boss once that said, Wayne, you know, I'd go union in an instant if the customer would pay the prices that I
Yeah,
have, that I
right,
would have to afford.
right.
And that's the whole thing. Everybody wants Walmart prices, Costco prices. I mean, everybody wants something for nothing, and it just doesn't happen in this.
Well,
You know,
there ain't nothing for nothing out there right now. It's crazy though. I'll tell you. Costco, when I was in there the other day, looking at some stuff, and the guy says, "Yeah, we don't even make anything off of this." And I was looking at the ribeye steaks that he was taking off of his cart and putting into the cooling shelf there, and beautiful looking steaks, $10 a pound. And he goes, "Yeah, we don't make a dime off these. These are lost leaders. We just have them here so you guys can buy them."
yeah.
So I mean, there's I guess we're still paying. They're not making anything there, but believe me, they make it up in other places. So um, the bottom line is, the effect that this is going to have and is having on the guys out there driving that are the owner operators, that are the sub hauler companies out there. We're going to see and are seeing those effects in the stores now already, and it's only going to get worse if this thing has it's if this thing's allowed to go full circle the way they want it to, then geez.
Well, the only light at the tunnel, light at the end of the tunnel that I can see is, like I told you earlier, uh, on the 25th, I'm going to go to this webinar that the Scopelitis group is putting on about whatever changes are coming about and strategy and new strategies. So hopefully, if guys can come tune back in, around the next couple of Wednesdays, the 31st.
Yeah, I think we decided on the 31st because, and let's talk about that in a minute. Cindy just
Okay.
tuned in and wanted to know if owner operators are coming back if they can get their own authority. No, that's not how it works. Your own authority, you don't need. Well, actually, now wait a minute. When I was 2 years before I got out, in fact, I was the first guy in San Joaquin County to get my bit inspection done by the motor carry. When I got my authority, I was the first guy to get inspected and get in that county. But and the CHP took over responsibilities to do the inspections, right?
Yeah.
So we all have to have authority. Everybody's got their own authority. I mean, unless you're painting somebody else's name and stuff on your door, right?
Oh, speaking of that, now here's something that for intra-state, local California people, okay, if they've got a CA number, that's just a registration number.
That's all it is. Yeah.
Yeah, they need to upgrade that to an MCP, a motor carrier permit
Right. Right.
through the Highway Patrol. That is your business license, period. End of
Yep.
story.
Yep.
You get any company in California that's got an MCP cannot be taxed for any kind of business license, whatever. I mean, I just had somebody here earlier in the week, or last week, I should say, and they're in Fullerton, I think. They're being taxed by the city of Fullerton for a business license. So I told them, how to go about protesting it and trying to get their money back, or at least stop paying it, because it's this happened when I was with the California Trucking Association. We took the power away from the PUC and gave it to the Highway Patrol.
Shoot, that was back in the mid '90s when that happened. I mean, in fact, I went to San Francisco to get numbers right when that transition and all that was changed. The CA numbers were basically on the way out. I mean, that was it. And then we just called them MC numbers, not MCP, but the MC numbers. When you got that was the thing everybody had to switch to. And
That's a little confusing. MC is for federal, MCP is for California.
oh, MCP is California.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I didn't even know that. I had both. I had federal and state authority both then.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it. Got it. Hey, I want to say hi to everybody that's tuned in since we've been sitting here chatting about this, and We've got in the studio today with us Wayne Schooling, who's been one of our longest, if not longest, contributors to 10-4 magazine. Writes every month in the magazine. Wayne's World. I got a copy of his article right there for you guys if you want to go in and check it out. He's on page looks like page 39, 36. I don't have right good lighting in here. 35, 36. So check him out in the magazine every month. Wayne's always got great advice and information for everybody out there. Decided to bring this into the Studio 10-4 weekly update because it's such a controversial, important, need to know thing, and that's this AB 5, Assembly Bill 5, and on a local level here, we've been discussing it and within our own government affairs committees and different things, and trying to get a handle on it and see who's going to do what. But at this point, it is what it is. Now, you were saying you thought that the stay was still in effect. I thought they lifted all the stays and it was in effect. The law is in effect now. No,
I haven't heard that the TRO has been lifted.
that's interesting. Okay, well, maybe it's still in effect. Bottom line is it's going to get this is going to get put into law, and that's going to be it. And
So
I mean,
the law on June 30th, when the Supreme Court refused to hear it,
right.
made the law in effect, but there's still a TRO. To the best of my knowledge, the TRO is still on enforcement of it. The law is in effect, yes, but the enforcement has been stopped.
Okay, got
So,
it. All right. So we're in limbo, basically.
so there's still
Um,
time to strategize on what to do, whether to you know run over to Nevada and create your business over there. And
well, I mean, I mean that's a thought, but here's the thing, and I'm going to go back to the rock sand gravel guys. These guys basically they hover around themselves and the plants that they load from, and they deliver where they need to go to, and they're brokered or dispatched through a prime contractor who has a contract for that plant, or that plant itself has its own trucking company and everything. And these guys that we're hauling that material, it's not like they can pick up and go somewhere else and do what they're doing there. It's just, unless it's out of California, and then they're going to go into let's say they go to Nevada, go to Las Vegas, just for naming someplace. And by the way, TRO is a temporary restraining order there. That's what a TRO is. um, these guys are going to go to somebody else's place where there's a group of guys that every day they show up and haul rock, sand, and gravel. Well, there's not exactly enough room to bring in all these other truckers coming from California. At least I don't think there is. I mean, it's just not going to work out that way. So I don't know. I mean, there's just so many stupid problems with this thing that you can't even sit there and try to address even one of them sensibly at this point.
I know. One other thing that we're trying to put together now is that we have a resource now that we have access to every manufacturer's directory in the United States. It's updated. To give you an idea, this is California right here, and I don't know how many pages this is in. It looks like
A lot. That'd be a wheel chalk, man. That's not a door stop. That's a wheel chalk.
no, but it's cross referenced, so you can and it lists every manufacturer by category or by SIC code, so that I don't know if let's say that you just don't, you just want to run California intrastate, so you got your MCP. Now, where do you get your customers from? I mean, you hear so many stories about brokers cheating you on this and that and whatnot. This, you go right to the source. This is every manufacturer in there. The books aren't that expensive, to tell you the truth. A couple $100, basically. And when they're printed updated every year, it has everything you want to know about that company: their phone number, faxes, web, email, place, what they make. So if you wanted to haul light freight, let's say lampshades, take up a lot of room, so you can charge more for the volume, but you're going to save on fuel. Same thing with artificial flowers. Or you can go the other way and go, with flatbeds and steel coils and whatnot.
Right.
But but now you know exactly who it is. We can, through a membership at NTA, we can help if you want. You can write your own letters and introduce yourself to that company and send out letters uh, to get your own business going. You don't have to rely on brokers. You can be uh, on a contract with some of these companies. Maybe they want somebody in their back pocket that they can rely on freight. What you'd have to do is sell yourself. I mean,
Yep.
if you take, as I tell these guys, if you take 10 sorrel horses, that's about a reddish brown horse, and put 10 in a row and put a palomino in the middle, who are the people going to look at? The palomino is going to stand out. So if you take 10 owner operators,
Hmm.
how are you, because you are a sole proprietor business, how are you going to stand out amongst everybody else? What is your selling point? Are you always on time? Maybe you have better equipment. Maybe you got air ride. There's a million things that you can, put together.
I'm gonna jump in here on this, Wayne, for a second, because a couple of things I want to
Yeah, go ahead.
go through, and then I want to come back to this. Um, Whoever this is right here that asked the question, will AB5 affect owners like myself? So, two things here, guys. If you're the person who, hey, Gary, is it Gary Jones? Okay. Uh, when you guys log into the show, there should be a queue in there that says, "Can we see your information? Your profile or whatever." Check that, and then it'll let us see who you are. And that's only on a couple of on the group stuff that does that for whatever reason. And that's probably because if you're watching through a group or something, or your settings are on private, that we can't see you. Um, this is a great point here, and that's what are they going to do when owner operators can no longer pick up food from the farms and ranches? Well, these are again the questions that we don't have the answers to because nobody does right now. It's just it's not answerable. Grocery store trucks going to the farms and bring products back to their warehouses. No, there's independent guys out there that's all they do. The dairy guys, whatever, the guys are hauling feed in, they're hauling stock out. I mean, the list goes on. Victor Verrett, you got a great question too. What about oil field equipment? I've got a friend that runs to port in Cal every other week, unload, reload at the same port. If he's not hauling direct and this AB5 thing comes into play, everybody's in trouble. Well, the whoever hired the guy is in trouble. He's got to be either an employee for the company or he's got to be hauling direct. And this is what I want to talk about that Wayne just brought up. Wayne, hold that book up again, would you please? Tell everybody the name of that book, please. What is it?
Oh, this is the Directory of California Manufacturers, but we have one for every state in the union.
Point it towards your camera there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There you go. Directory of California Manufacturers. So
This is
here's
an old book, by the way. This is a 2014.
I see that. So, and when I was trucking, there were times when I'm thinking to myself, God, I wish I could get the contact information for certain people and certain businesses. Damned if Wayne didn't just give it to y'all and make it available. So you guys can go back and look at this later. I'll get some information from Wayne and we can post it up later too. And that would be how to get this book. Can you tell people how they can get it right now, Wayne? Is there a way?
Well, right now we're only offering it to our membership on that, but we're putting together different prices just for the paper. One is much cheaper, or you can get one that's online.
There you go.
But the book belongs to you. I mean, whoever buys it, we'll have it shipped directly to the person. So the thing about it is that your fingers got to do the walking. Whereas if you pick out the people that you want, then we have some people that can put together a letter. We can even create a logo for you on your letterhead or something. and we will put together a letter introducing the owner operator's company to these people, and so
Wow.
that he can develop his own business.
So for you guys that are sitting there going, I'm a trucker. I just want to drive. I want to take my load, get it loaded, and then unload it.
Yeah, those days
It's
are gone.
yeah, yeah. Those days are gone in a lot of different ways. You've been doing a lot of stuff to make whatever happens happen. Maybe you got somebody helping. You got oh, Wayne just went away. So he, he just he just killed his feed there. So anyway, I was going to have to say goodbye to Wayne anyways. But guys, I want y'all to take a minute here and catch the new video premiere. And this is a brand new production from Studio 10-4 Productions. This is from I'll let the video do the talking. We got you back, Wayne. We're watching the video here for a minute, and we'll bring you back in, okay? Bubba, what's going on? I hope you can hear me, man. Jacob Bonham, what's going on with you, man? Good to have you on the show. We're taking a look at a little footage from Le Mans from last weekend. Incidentally, I'll be posting this up on Technical Magazine's Facebook page, and I think I can get it on our Instagram too. So we'll share this here after the show's over. Good looking trucks out at that show last weekend. Some with wheels, some without. Hope you guys enjoyed that. We're going to, like I said, I'll post that up on our Facebook and Instagram here after the show's over. Wayne's back, so you put another dime in or what?
No, I must have hit my mouse or something. I don't know. Knocked myself off.
That's all right. Well, we're on a wrap for today's show, Wayne. I appreciate you coming in and doing what you did here. As we've said earlier, you guys can catch up on what rulings and what's happened, which is going to happen next week. The following week here on Studio 10-4, we'll have Wayne back and cover some of that stuff. So maybe we'll have a little clearer picture of the mud in the water, as they say, as to what's happening.
Good.
Wayne, thanks a lot for coming on to the show. Are you going to be at Truckin For Kids this year?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, we can't wait to see you. We'll get you out there in that old golf cart of yours with the new look.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's going to be an interesting sight to see, because none of us really at this point have an idea what it's going to look like. So can't say I have even a clue. So Wayne, thanks for taking the time today and sharing all the information. I would think that best thing, guys, right now, honestly, check out NTA Go to their website. What's the website URL?
It's ntassoc.com.
So check them out. If you didn't catch that, it's NTASSOOOC.
No, OC. Yeah. N for North American, T for transportation, add the abbreviation for association, ASSOC, and then just throw on a .com.
Okay, there you go. And if you guys still get confused, just do a search for NTA, and it'll probably come up in the Google search. But I would suggest going over there, checking it out, and seeing how it can help you, because it sounds like there's a lot of great things on there that you could probably benefit from being a part of.
If nothing else, just type in my name.
There you go. Type in Wayne Schooling. Okay.
I can come up on the first page.
Very good. There you go. All right, Wayne, we'll talk to you soon. Thank you very much. Thanks for your support over many, many years for 10-4 and Truckin For Kids. And now you're with us on the Studio 10-4 Live Weekly Update. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Take care.
Take care, too. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Wayne Schooling there, folks. And again, check out his column in the 10-4 magazine every month and find out what's going on in there. One more thing I wanted to say again, thanks to Minimizer and all of the great products that they make available for us and for your trucks. Again, the list is long as to why these fenders are so good. Not for everybody, like I said. The owner operator who's running a stainless steel fender on there and wants that. Well, that's probably not going to happen. But you know what? They come pretty close. They've got some chrome plastic fenders that at least you'll get the look, but you're going to get all the function of that polymer poly fender that they've made and a lifetime guarantee on it. So check them out, minimizer.com. Appreciate them always being there. And of course, they always bring the light show from Matt's Mid-America Truck Show every year. They've always been our sponsor at night for that. And I hope that we'll definitely keep them around. Till next week, guys. Appreciate that. Truckin For Kids. Hey, by the way, Truckin For Kids, a couple of things. First of all, Dan was going to be on the show and welcome Wayne into the studio today. But a couple of things. Dan's buried in getting the next magazine out again. And also he's buried in his other job, Truckin For Kids. So a lot of really, really awesome things are going on with Truckin For Kids. So many that I'd probably go into a whole nother hour just telling you all about it. Let me just tell you this. Pre-register. Yeah, you've heard that a few times. I'm not going to stop saying it until we know it's all done. Pre-register, pre-register, pre-register. Get yourself pre-registered. It's going to be so simple when you get to the track this year. You're going to show your device, your phone, whatever it is, hold it up. They're going to scan it. You're in. That's it. No more shuffling. I'm so-and-so or this and that, blah, 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 blah. None of that stuff no more. It's show them that you pre-registered. They scan you, you're in. Go to truckinforkids.org, and that'll take you to what you need for pre-registration. 10-4magazine.com. That'll take you there. There's a tab on our website as well for it. The TFK, excuse me, the TFK tab is up there and it has all the information. Right on, Dave Cooper. Yeah. Well, have fun at a wedding. If you're going to a wedding, you should definitely have fun. And if you're hungover on September 11th, you're never too hungover. Just have a Bloody Mary or a bloody beer. That's always my cure for that sort of stuff. We'll see you guys next week. Keep the shiny side up. Appreciate the heck out of you. Thanks to everybody that's putting together our Truckin For Kids this year, September 11th. Don't forget about it. We will be there. We've got a lot of stuff we're fitting into one day. Awesome drag races, and the drag races are going to be bigger and better than they've ever been. Hopefully the show and shine is going to be as good or better than it's ever been as well. It's looking like it's going to be, guys. There's been a lot of great support. Thanks for all the positive vibes. All the positive vibes. You guys are awesome out there. Appreciate you. We'll see you next week with our cover trucker for August, and we'll have him here in the studio with me and whoever else might drop by. Till then, take care. We'll see you.